And welcome to part 2 of manipulating PDFs using Adobe Acrobat Pro to make them accessible. A quick refresher of what we covered in part 1. We used this Action Wizards tool. So we went through our tools and we found what is called the Action Wizard. And we added that to our shortcut menu bar. And we ran the step-by-step wizard that will manipulate PDFs in order to make them accessible. So for this demonstration, I'm not going to use the Action Wizard tool. We're going to use this accessibility tool review. So to access this tool, if it's not already in your shortcut menu on the right hand side, simply type in accessibility to the search in the tools option, and you should be able to add that accessibility icon in to your quick shortcut menu. Once that's in, this is a quick, easy way to assess whether or not a PDF has a lot of accessibility issues right off the bat. Instead of running the Action Wizard, which will walk you through manipulating a PDF, this is just a quick scan to see where the document stands in terms of accessibility. So when I access this tool, I'm going to run a full check. You'll see this full check button on the right-hand side. When I click that, you may remember this box from the end of the Action Wizard in part 1, but it does the exact same check at the end of the Action Wizard as well. So I'm going to leave all these defaulted on because I want to check for everything, and I'm going to start checking. It's going to scan through this document, and you'll see on the left-hand side generate this little report with the same icon as the accessibility tool. And in here, I can open up these collapsed areas and take a look at any of the issues that it actually found. So you'll see there's a couple of titles issues, there's some tagging issues, and there's some alternate text issues. So from here, I can start to manipulate the document if I want to actually go ahead and use this. So for example, I'm going to fix these alt texts on these images. So I'm going to open up this collapse window, and you'll see that these are all figures in this PDF that the software identified as issues. So what we'll do here is you can right click and fix any of these issues within here. Some of them are quicker, easier fixes than others, but for our example, I'm just going to use this quick and hit fix option. What that does is it brings up the same dialog box you may remember from part 1, where I can now go through and identify each individual graphic. Now you'll see that these are a little off here. If you do want to actually fix these, you can if you follow the process from part 1, but I'm not going to go through that again. So from here, I can identify individual graphics, and I can start to assign the alternate text that's required for them. So let's go to the next one. So you can go through and add in your alt text. Save and close, and now it has removed those from the issues that it's found. So it's a quick, easy way to add in alternate text to graphics that have been through this accessibility checker. So you'll remember from the part 1 series that we added in these 2 additional tools that we can go in and see what's assigned to this PDF. We added them in by right-clicking in this area on the left-hand side here and adding in what is called order, which is the little Z icon with boxes, and we added in tags, which are tags that look like luggage tags that you would use. So we went over the logical reading order, which was the order tab that we went in. It should look something like this. If you need a refresher, go back to part 1. But now what we're going to do is take a look at this tags option. So what happens when you do these full scans of documents is that it assigns tags to certain areas of text or graphics. Those tags refer to the way that screen readers access them and how students with screen readers or a disability can access content in a certain order. These tags are important. It almost serves as a hierarchy structure, and it's the same in Word documents, in PowerPoints, and also PDFs. In PDFs, they're referred to as tags as opposed to headings, even though they're the same thing. That's a good note to have. So what you can do now is go through all of these individual tags and take a look at what it's identifying as a tag, if it is actually something in the course, or what is pretty nice is you can actually go in and change headings based on what it was auto-created for you. So you'll see here we have an H1 heading, and you'll see that if I left-click on any of these, it actually highlights it on the PDF, so that's actually a pretty good feature. So you'll see that as I scroll down through here, there's several H1 tags. Now, best practices with accessibility and headings is that you don't want to have more than one H1 tag. So for this example, I'm going to fix these H1 tags. Same way we went through and fixed the alternate text on graphics, once you identify a tag that's incorrectly labeled, you can right-click, and all the way down at the bottom of this pop-up box is Properties. I'm going to click on that. You'll see that I now have that tag tab open automatically, and now I can change the type of tag to a different level heading because I know that this isn't a heading 1 or it shouldn't be a heading 1. So I'm going to change this to a heading 2 level, and now what I can do is quickly go through, click on the next one that needs to be fixed, and change the heading levels. So now I know that these are all manually set to be the correct format. Heading 2. Actually, that one's not anything because that is not. Same deal. So if I wanted to actually remove something, so you'll see when I click on these tags, it's actually referring to just an empty box here. And you'll see that some PDFs have strange artifacts in them as you go through them. But for this one specifically, I know that's actually nothing. So with this left click and highlighted here, I'm just going to delete that tag out so it no longer exists. And I'm going to do this as my last H2 tag. So now I just went through and fixed headings. The same goes for tables. When you run these accessibility checks on tables, you also need to make sure that the headings have been set correctly on tables. So you'll see that I've run this checker already on this document. It's identified a couple of different issues, but mostly it's actually okay. I just want to go through and check to make sure that it actually worked correctly. So as I scroll down through this long series of tags, you'll be able to quickly identify where there is a table because it will actually be labeled table in this list. When I open and expand all of the other options, it'll individually show every row that's in this table. Now I know that the heading of this table is the top one. So if I click through these, I'll be able to quickly see which row it's referring to. So you'll see this. So this is the row that I actually need to worry about because this would be the heading of my table. If I expand this, I'll see that these individual tags are already automatically set in here. So these are actually the correct format for table headers. You'll see TH and the little red icon. That means that it is correct. You'll also see that it has this extra one in here. So I'm going to do what I did with the last H2 tag, and I'm going to just delete that one out. If this was, for example, just a regular table cell, so it would look something like this. It'll have a little blue icon. It won't be a red one. Let's say we need to fix this and change this to a table header. Same way that we did for the regular heading tags. Right-click, open up the properties, and change that to a table header cell. So now it's changed the icon, it's now a table header, and it's correctly formatted. And I can quickly go through and check any of the other ones if I need to. But for this example, we're actually set. The last thing we're going to cover is tables in general. Tables in general need to have alternate text on them similar to alt text on graphics. So it needs to have a text on the back end of this table to explain to a student that gets to it what is in that actual table. So for this example, I'm just going to find this table in my list again, which you'll see is labeled table. I'm going to right click and I'm going to go to properties. Same area we went to change the H1 tags and the table cell tags. So in here, you'll see that it takes me to this area where I can change the actual type of content it is, but I'm not going to change that because I know it is actually a table. You'll see now I have the ability to add in a title to it, actual text, or alternate text. So for this example, it would be So now I've added in alt text to this table. And if I did have additional tables, I can continue to click through them and add it. So that's the last actual feature that you need to know about to create accessible tables and to help manipulate tables within PDFs.